Testing. Oh, this week. Honestly, hope my dogs don't start howling while I'm shooting this content, because I need to remember to always look into the camera, because for some reason I was looking at my shelf. Oh, Jehovah. All right, let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lindokuhle Cele, and I've not been doing a lot of vlogs. There's been a lot of vlogging going on, so I kind of got like FOMO with regards to like the crime stuff. So I was like, I know the vlogs are nice, but we need some crime. We need to get into the stories. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, so I'm currently shooting again from my room. Guys. I don't know. Let me not lie. Let me stop lying. I don't know when we're gonna go back to that room where I used to shoot content in the beginning for the crime stuff. Also because I feel like the distance of it might be a bit weird, because I was using a camera at that time. Obviously the distance was okay, you know. So now that I'm shooting on my phone, I feel like it may be a bit too far and like all that drama. But yeah, I'm currently load shedded as well. So now that there's load shedding, it's cold and I'm home most of the time, there's going to be a lot of content. Like, at least now you guys are sure, okay, I'm always going to be producing the content. But yeah, without any further ado, without any further ado, let's get into today's case. Just before I get started for this case, guys, I just want to put out a trigger warning. Some of the details are a bit like gruesome and stuff like that, and it does involve the murder of an LGBTQ plus member. And because today is the last day of June, I decided that today's case rather should be in honor of someone that was part of that LGBTQ plus community, you know, just as a way to close off Pride Month. And so today's case is a young, very handsome gentleman who went by the name of Lindokuhle Cele, who was born in Umlazi, which is in KZN. He was born on the 11th of April in the year 1996. Now, Lindo's family describes him as someone that loved peace, someone that had, you know, a bit of drama, someone that loved singing, someone that was also, like, wise beyond his years. Like, when his aunt, like, speaks of him, she basically describes him as, like, you know, when you would have a problem as an adult, he, even at his young, tender age, because he was 23 at the time, you know, he was able to give very, very, very good advice. He loved peace. He didn't like ras and just things that were unnecessary. He loved people to be happy, to feel good. You know, he had an amazing sense of humor. That's just the type of person that he was. And he had also just graduated from AFDA. Now, from a young age, apparently Lindo loved the spotlight. Anything that had to do with spotlight and attention, that's exactly where you'd find him. He was obsessed with the color pink. You know, he'd always like run around with his mother's handbags and like heels. And like when the camera came on, like he was definitely there, like even from a very, very, very small age. And Lindo's family basically says that from a young age, like they knew that he was gay, like they knew that he was different. He himself knew that he was gay and that he was different. And he never felt, or he never really like fully believed in the term like coming out, you know, like coming out as a gay man, because he felt like with heterosexual people, like you'd never come out and be like, hi, I'm Becky and I like guys, I'm into males, or whatever the case is, because that's my nature, that's who I truly am. So he also felt like because it was who he truly was, he didn't feel the need to have to come out and, you know, come out of closet or anything like that. Like he was just himself, and that was just Lindo. On the 6th of February 2020, it was basically just a normal day. Lindo and a friend of his were just hanging out. There was no electricity, like they were load shedded, which is like honestly in South Africa at this point, I feel like we have more load shedding than we actually do have electricity. So they were just hanging out. There was no electricity. Then Lindo suggested that they go up the road to like a little a shack, like a little shack where, you know, you buy food and stuff like that. So they wanted to go and buy intestines, and he was like to his friend, let's just go. I'm sure by the time we come back, maybe the lights will be back, or, you know, let's just pass time. And so when his friend describes him that day, she says that he was very off, like he didn't really, like he wasn't himself, he wasn't his bubbly self as he usually is. He was very down that day. And so then they walked up the road and they went to this little spot where it is that they were gonna buy intestines. And so then the friend describes that when they got in, it's very small, right? It's very small. So Lindo got in, and then he sat down. He was just busy on his phone, and the friend stood outside the little shack. And this was basically while they were just waiting for the owner of the place to like get the fire going and to basically start cooking the intestines. Now, as the owner of the place was setting up the fire, he was approached by a man who goes by the name of Mvuyisi Noguda. I hope I said that right. Who was 32 at the time. And so Mvuyisi basically went and he, you know, went to the owner of the place and asked whether or not the owner of the place had any weed available. And so then the owner of the place was like, yeah, he has some weed. He'll be right back. He's just gonna go get it. And then they can rock, basically. Now, while it is that the owner of the shop had went to go fetch the weed from the house, Mvuyisi, who's the man that now came and asked for the weed, obviously, took out a knife, or rather pulled out a knife and started stabbing Lindo, right? And as you can remember, Lindo's just sitting, he's on his phone, he's not really in the mood for a lot of things. And now here's this man coming out, pulling out a knife, and basically started stabbing him, started pulling him by his dreads, basically dragged him onto the road, and is basically just like stabbing. And when it is that Lindo's aunt described like the wounds and stuff like that, it said that the man wasn't just like stabbing to stab, he was like pulling, right? He was pulling. So this man is just basically just going on and on and on. And so basically at this time, you know, Lindo is screaming, he's crying, is, you know, as you would, right, if someone just started attacking you. And so apparently Lindo started shouting and saying, you know, I apologize, I don't know what I did to you, but whatever it is, I really do apologize for it. And this happened at a very, very busy intersection. And so there were cars passing, there were people passing, but people just stood and they watched, and they stood in groups and they watched. And so Lindo's friend, the one who he went to get the intestines with, decided to run to Lindo's family home and to alert his grandmother and his uncle of what it was that was happening up the road. And so Lindo's uncle says, like, when he got there and he saw like there was just so many people, and like none of them were able to, or none of them were like, dude, it's enough, like you've stabbed him, we get it, like give him a break. Like, you know, he was just going. Lindo's like hands had like scraps, or what is it? Yeah, you get it, right? From like trying to defend himself and stuff like that. And so then a car pulled up of like someone that they know. And so then Lindo's uncle, Lindo's friend who was with him, and Lindo then got into that vehicle, and they were rushing him to the hospital. Now, unfortunately, because it was load shedding, there was a lot of traffic. And so fine, now they're stuck in traffic, and Lindo had the knife stuck in his eye. Right, sorry guys, I know, like when I also read it, I was like, you know, for sensitive viewers. So Lindo had the knife stuck in his eye the whole time, and he was basically just like, okay, the first thing was like, where's my phone and stuff like that. And his friend was like, dude, don't worry about it, we have your phone is good, we left it at home. And then the second thing was, he said that he couldn't feel his like legs anymore, right? So then his friend basically just started to massage his legs just to see if he can feel anything. And then later on, he said his arm, he can't feel his arm. And so then the friend started to then rub on the arm to see if, you know, he would feel anything. And so he was like, you guys need to take this knife out of my eye. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm about to let go, you know, and basically but in this case, letting go meaning like to let go, you know, to go to heaven, do what you gotta do. So basically to just pass away. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna let go because I'm in so much pain, and like, no. And then his friend was like, no, hold on, you know, hold on, we're almost there, hold on for your granny, like just hold on. And he told them that they basically didn't understand the type of pain that he was in. That's why like they could say hold on and stuff like that, but he's in an enormous amount of pain. At this point, they're at the hospital, and just before it was that Lindo had passed away, he had actually managed to like hold on for like 3.5 hours, and at no point was he unconscious. And so his aunt, the doctors told his aunt that he was honestly a fighter. Like, for him to be able to hold on for that long with a knife in his eye, he was losing blood, a lot of blood. They had to actually put in at least 2 pins of blood to try substitute for the amount of blood that he was losing, because the doctors had described that every time it was that they closed up like one wound, then they'd find another one, like another bigger one. Like, there was just wounds everywhere. And Lindo had about 21 stab wounds, and 18 of those stab wounds is what led or caused his death. The ones that were in his, like, towards the lung or by his head, because he also got stabbed. I think the aunt said there was like a one scratch that was coming all the way there. He got stabbed in the chest. So 18 of those 21 wounds is what ultimately led to Lindo's death. Now, just before it was that Lindo had passed away, the doctor basically told his family that literally just before he had passed away, he like lifted up his arm to like take the knife out, right? And so the doctor stopped him, like, dude, you can't do that because you're losing a lot of blood. And it was then when Lindo said that he knew that like it's the end, he's really leaving now, and he wouldn't want to die with a knife stuck in his eye. And so just as he was saying that, then his arm collapsed, and that is when Lindo sadly lost his life. Now, on the 15th of February 2020, Lindokuhle Cele was laid to rest. Not so long after that, Mvuyisi was arrested for the murder of Lindokuhle, and it didn't really take too long because obviously there were so many witnesses, and also he's someone that's known like in the community for like theft. He's known for sexually assaulting people. He's known for rape. Like, this is someone that people know in the community, so it didn't really take long to get him arrested, and yeah, because they knew him. Now, in 2019, just before Mvuyisi attacked Lindo, in the year 2019, because Lindo was attacked in 2020, so just in 2019, the end of 2019, Mvuyisi would basically talk about how it is that he doesn't understand how Lindo got so much attention. He's never seen such a beautiful man in his life. So he was basically going to deal with Lindo. But when he said he was going to deal with Lindo, he didn't mention anything about death. Like, he just said that he was going to stab him in the eyes. He was going to put him in a wheelchair. Like, he wanted to see if people would still love Lindo if he was sitting in a wheelchair. That's weird. Like, okay. Now, on the 1st of January 2020, it was basically New Year's Day. So Lindo and his friend who was with him when he got stabbed, and this Mvuyisi guy and a few other friends were basically just hanging out at the girl's house, Lindo's friend's house. You know, they were drinking, they were having a good time. And so then that's when Lindo decided that he was going to go to the main bedroom to take a nap. And so then everyone else basically stayed behind. So as time went, other friends and other people started to leave. And so then Lindo's female friend decided to go to the room to wake Lindo up, and basically told Lindo that she's not feeling comfortable because now it's just her and Mvuyisi left in the house, and like he's making remarks and stuff like that. And because he's known like for rape and stuff like that, she's obviously not feeling comfortable right now. So, you know, she needed for Lindo to either wake up and sit with them, or something just needs to happen. So that's when Lindo decided to go to use the restroom. And so upon, like, while he went to the restroom, then when he came out, Mvuyisi offered him cigarettes and money for him to leave the house and leave him with Lindo's female friend. And so then Lindo obviously declined and said that's just definitely not gonna happen. And then Lindo went back into the main bedroom where he left his female friend. He told his friend that, dude, this guy's being weird. He's saying weird stuff. So let's go back to my house, right? So upon them leaving the room, then they told this guy, okay, dude, we're about to leave. We're going to fetch the friend. So this girl, the one whose house they're at, her child was left at Lindo's house with Lindo's granny. So they're telling this guy that, no, now we're going to Lindo's house to fetch the child. So you need to leave because obviously we need to lock up. And so this guy's like, nah, you know, he's trying to be dodgy and everything. But they were like, no, you need to leave because we're about to leave. So then they locked up the house, and then they all basically went their separate ways. And so that night, Lindo's friend decided to spend the night at his house because she didn't feel safe with like the whole situation that had basically happened. The following day, on the 2nd, Lindo and his friend, that female friend, then went up to a shop. That's when they bumped into Mvuyisi, who then asked whether or not they had seen his cell phone. And so they answered that no, last they saw his cell phone, he was holding it. It was when they were all leaving. And then he was like, oh, okay, cool. Apparently he didn't seem like he had a problem with that answer, so everything was good and everything was fine. And then when they went to back to the female friend's house, they had actually found like the door open, right? And then they went into the house, and then Lindo's female friend could not find her phone. Shortly after that, Mvuyisi's brother, is this guy's name? This guy, the murderer, Mvuyiseni, there we go. His brother then came and gave the girl her phone, right? So then obviously at this point, it's obvious that that guy, Mvuyisi, had broke into her house. So maybe he was under the impression, or the friend thought he was under the impression, that after she fetches her child from Lindo's house, she's gonna go back home to her house, and since she's home alone, he'd then be able to break in and to rape her or do whatever it was that he had wanted to do with her in the beginning. But because she had spent the night at Lindo's house, obviously she wasn't there when he broke in, and so then I'm guessing he decided to take her phone. And so it's fine because his brother then decided to bring back her phone. 25th of February 2020, Mvuyisi then had a bail hearing, of which he did not even attend. He decided to abandon his own bail hearing because he felt that he was much safer in prison, as opposed to if he went out, or if he was released. So at this point, he abandoned the bail and he was just prepared to sit and wait until his trial started. Now, during the trial, he had claimed that Lindo had sexually assaulted him by drugging him, apparently. And so when he saw Lindo on the day when he hurt him, he was basically just full of rage. He was angry that Lindo had sexually assaulted him on New Year's Eve. And so that's why he decided to stab Lindo and do everything that he had done to Lindo. He had said that he didn't report the crime because he was embarrassed, you know, to be like going to a prison and saying that another man drugged him and sexually assaulted him. So the day that it is that he ended Lindo's life, he just felt angry the moment he saw Lindo, and he decided to take it into his own hands, I'm guessing. On the 31st of March 2021, Mvuyisi was then sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. And that is the story of Lindokuhle Cele. And guys, you know, when I heard of the story, because I watched it on Cutting Edge for the first time, I was so sad, man. I was so heartbroken because I couldn't understand like why people who are so confident, people who are so sure about themselves, people who don't even bother anyone, you know, end up losing their lives because someone else is unsure maybe of who they are, or is unsure of, I don't even know. But this whole story is just really heartbreaking, and it just also comes to show that sometimes some things may also be deeply rooted in jealousy. If he's saying that he's never seen a man that had such a beautiful face and he wanted to like stab him and like ruin his face and whatever, and see if people still loved him after that, like, it's just, yeah. But yeah, guys, that is the story. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe, and to share. See you next time. Bye. For that much, you always lie, I always try. Saying goodbye right now. I'm saying goodbye right now. Young love never seems to last at all. Young love always leads to the great fall. Young love, I don't need you anymore. Some got my throat. You see, these dogs are barking now, yo. It's gonna be a long